Hello, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Wall presented by Perky Jerky. As always, I'm Thermite 917 along with Probo 43 and Kane Jr. 88. This week was the Overton's 225, 300, and 400 at Chicagoland Speedway. That's right, the Overton's takeover weekend apparently. Oh man, I'm still pumped up from the Cup race. What a finish that was. Me and Kane were there, but before we get to that, we have to do the race recap, so Tyler, take it away.
Sure will. The Overton's 400. The pole was won by Paul Menard. I am still baffled by that fact. Paul Menard's first pole in nearly a decade. Well, pretty much a decade, since it was 2008 in Daytona. Holy Lord. It didn't work out for Paul, because he lost the lead right away. Ryan Blaney took reins, but his car faded not long after that, and then Clint Bowyer led the way. And everything looked good and dandy for him until the first pit stop, and easily one of the worst sequences I've ever seen by anybody, where he was caught speeding on 2 occasions, both in the last section of pit road, but he actually had to come to pit road 3 times because he failed to do a stop and go on his second stop. So absolute pit stop from hell from Clint Bowyer. So that ended up putting him multiple laps down, but he recovered later in the day. That gave the control to Eric Almirola out of nowhere. There were no cautions in the stage, so he just ran right off and scored his first ever stage win. Starting off with stage 2, there was a little debris caution. Okay, cool. Hi, nice to see you, debris. Then it got back rolling again after a series of pit stops. Eric Almirola was still kind of in charge. He was holding off Kevin Harvick, doing a nice little job. But then all of a sudden, he has a loose wheel and he has to make a pit stop under green. So now Kurt Busch is in charge. Everything looked clear, cut, and dry for him to win the stage, but Kevin Harvick tracked him down and made the close. You know, that's why they call him that stupid little nickname, the Closer. And he sure did. Got right near him and made an absolute slick pass on the outside of turn 4 to pip him right at the start-finish line and get the second stage win, pissing Kurt Busch off real good and nice. Stage 3 starts. They had a short little run. Then Denny Hamlin decided to spin out of nowhere. Sorry about your luck, Denny. Not really. Anyway, they had another 30-lap run or so. And the final caution of the race, Corey LaJoie decided to knock the wall down. I guess the engine was holding up, so, you know, he had to do something else. And that was putting it in the wall. So, thanks a lot for that, Corey. But that set up the final run to the finish. Little over 50-lap run, I believe. Everybody was good to go on fuel. Nothing like that. It was a straight race. Kyle Busch, who had an absolutely atrocious race, really, somehow worked his way up. There was a little bit of track change. He got some good pit stops, found himself in the lead, and it looked like he was not going to look back at all until Kyle Larson decided to show up on the scene. Kyle Larson, he was over 3 seconds back and tracked him down, ran by Kevin Harvick, all the lap cars, and drove right up to him right within the last handful of laps. Unfortunately, he found himself into the wall and looked like he blew it again. But Kyle Busch was storming through some heavy lap traffic, and Kyle Larson was able to make a last-second charge, getting right to his bumper on the final lap, makes a slide job!
Slide job!
Into turn 1 and 2, banks off of him. Going down the backstretch, Kyle Larson gets underneath him, shoots it into 3, has a little bit of a compromised entry. Kyle Busch gets back to the gas, hits him in the ass, basically turns him. Kyle Busch banks off the wall. Kyle Larson continues to slide, but it wasn't enough because Kyle Busch still had the momentum and ended up beating Kyle Larson to the line to win the Overton's 400, and easily the best finish that Chicagoland has ever seen, and easily the best finish of the year. So, the top 10 goes as follows: Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., and Clint Bowyer, who recovered and rounded out the top 5. Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, and Alex Bowman are your top 10 finishers. Eric Almirola actually led the most laps on the day, 4 times for 70 laps, but it was relegated to a 25th place finish. So, a couple more additional stats. The race ran 2 hours, 50 minutes, and there was 24 league changes among 10 drivers. So, nice variety there. Guys, you were there? What is your race rating?
My race rating is going to be an 8. It would be higher, but goddamn Kyle Busch won again. And Aside from the finish, it was a pretty uneventful race, especially during stage two. I mean, the only like real drama was Almirola having to pit for the loose wheel, and obviously the finish. Other than that, it was very solid. So, Thermite, what's your rating?
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it an 8 as well. And unlike you, I mean, I did enjoy stage 1 and 2 just because of the multiple grooves and everything. It almost reminded me of like Fontana, even though there weren't many cautions. It was just still nice to see guys having options to make some moves. There was a lot of passing. No one really flat out dominated. I mean, and when someone did, like you said, Almirola led the most laps. Like, great, finally you did something. But unfortunately, that was not meant to be. And then obviously we get to the stage 2 finish. That was amazing. And then the final stage finish. That was, as Tyler said, the best finish of the year. Best finish at Chicagoland. I was so happy to be here. Couldn't expect anything better, really, except if Kyle Busch didn't win. But I can look past that and appreciate a good finish. So 8 for me. Tyler?
Yep, 8's across the board. I was thinking about what I was going to say. You basically said it all for me. Just to continue to expand on the end of the race and the reaction from it, I like everything that happened. It's just that the person that won was the person I'd least like to see win. I mean, damn it. Really? You have to have that great of a finish, considering all we've had and what we've had to experience over the last several years, really. And then you have something that damn cool, and it goes to the biggest dick. I mean, are you kidding me?
But you almost have to think it wouldn't have been as good if it wasn't those two Kyles going at it. They almost like defied the physics of this current car.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that analysis for sure. And they drove the piss out of it. I'm all for that. That's great. It's like the Jekyll and Hyde. You don't want the bad guy to win. You want the nice guy to win, and you know who's who. It just sucks in that circumstance. You know, I think honestly the race as itself probably would have been like a 6.5. Finish boosted up a 1.5, and there's potential for more too. Chicagoland sucks, man. So the fact that you have
It's getting to that sweet spot.
Yeah, I know. That pavement's getting pretty aging pretty well, I would say.
And coming off of last year, we can't forget that the race in the chase was a nominee for one of the worst of the year last year. So this race isn't even going to be anywhere close, and not even going to be on that radar. It might even be a nominee for best race of the year, considering the circumstances.
It really helped that they moved it to the summer. I didn't think it would make that much of a difference, and obviously it wasn't great for the fans, but it made for some great racing out there.
Yeah.
It was a great race, and that leads into the topic for the week. You guys were there. You went to a race this year, and you went together, and that's awesome. For the second year in a row, it's Kane and Thermite's Great Adventure, or Excellent Adventure, whatever the hell you want to call it. Guys, say whatever you want.
Well,
It was awesome.
and not only that, for the second year in a row, it was, you know, at least one of us attended all 3 races. Thermite went to the truck race, I attended the Xfinity race, and obviously we both went to Cups. So always fun when NASCAR comes to town.
Yeah, to start off, I went to the truck race. It was hot. I would say it felt even hotter than the Cup race, so thank God the race itself was at night. But I guess the big non-race thing that I saw in that one was I got there early enough to see the hauler parade, so that's the first time I've seen that in person. That was awesome. You don't really realize how many cars are in the field until all their haulers go by. I mean, it was just so cool, and you know, a lot of them had train horns, and people were like, "Man, that's really loud." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, that's how it is." But anyway, I got all my shopping out of the way that day. Got a couple nice shirts. Got my pin for the weekend. I don't know why. I've been collecting race pins lately. It's easier than die cast. It saves a little bit of money. But yeah, I mean, that was great. Saw a lot of the military vehicles that were out in Champions Park. Saw Rutledge doing a segment by the wakeboarding pool. Got some video of that. But yeah, the truck race itself was great. The weather started to get nice as it got darker out, obviously. Brett Moffitt, John Hunter Nemechek duked it out, and it was great for Moffitt, bad for Nemechek, but it was just a great race to be at. So then we move on to Saturday. Kane went to Xfinity.
First of all, I didn't think I was going to go to Xfinity because I was having trouble trying to purchase my ticket the night before, and fortunately I was able to get it the day of the race on Saturday morning, and so with my parents going to the Cubs game, I took off south for Joliet. Obviously, it was pretty much just like last year. You know, I parked in front of the track. As soon as I got out of my car, I went right into Champions Park. Went past all the sponsor activation. You know, got a free 16-ounce can of Monster to drink, and then obviously the free Coke sample, and then I had some. What is that? The bacon mac and cheese from Smithfield, and then where I saw Tony Stewart and Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s Mustang parked right there. That is a freaking sexy car, by the way. Then went and did my shopping. Got pretty much a Chase Elliott hat and a shitload of die casts, like I always do. But
well, what'd you get, Kane?
Mostly Chase Elliott. I got his '88 Hellman's Xfinity car because that's also, I believe, the same paint scheme that Dale Jr. is going to be running at Richmond later this year. And I got the sexual green and the Sun Energy cars. So. You know, that's right. I also got the Caleb Bit car because that's and the lady who was working Chase's trailer, and she told me that she's like, "Oh my God, that sounds just like Dale." When he said Caleb Bit.
You actually said that?
Thank you.
I thought you were joking.
She actually said that. She actually said it that same way that Dale did. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's the lady for you then, Kane.
Nah, she's too old for me.
Oh, that never. You can make her soil.
Oh, whatever. So yeah, I got a few other driver diecasts as well.
So Kane, anything else to add about the Xfinity race?
It was a pretty solid race. It looked like Tyler Reddick was going to be the car to beat. He had a freaking rocket ship early on. He won stage 1, but then he kept screwing up on pit road, whether he was speeding or he just had a bad pit stop. But he kept getting put in the back of the field, and that's ultimately what led to him getting caught up in that wreck with Jeb Burton and Ryan Reed in stage 3 there. And
did you see it? Where was it? Where
yes,
were you
sitting? I did see it. I was sitting on the turn 4 side of the grandstand, so I had a great view of the wreck. So
excellent.
But yeah, it wasn't like too much drama. It was pretty solid, despite the race being dominated by cuppers. But yeah, just glad Kyle Busch wasn't in it. Thank God. So.
And then it was time for the big day in the Cup race. We got there pretty early. Was it like 9 a.m., I think?
Something like that.
Yeah. It started off, we finished up our shopping. Kane had a little bit more to do than I did. So I went over with my mom to the Toyota area where they do the little ride-along where they show you how great their cars are. You watch the videos of it, and it doesn't look that bad, but then you actually get in there, and you just kind of hold on to the door handle, and you're along for the ride, and it's really short, but it's a cool experience. We haven't done that. We've always wanted to. And then at 10 o'clock, we went to the Tweet Up, which we did last year, and they had it again this year. Kane, who was there?
Oh, we had 5 big names from either NASCAR or the NASCAR Twitterverse there. The special driver guest was Ross Chastain, as well as Jesse Iwuji. He was there literally the whole weekend because he was their Chicagoland Speedway's military ambassador because, as you guys know, he did serve in the U.S. Navy for quite a while, so thank you, Jesse, for your service. We also had Bob Pockers there. He's at the Tweet Up like at every track, so that's no surprise. But we also had Aaron Bearden. You guys, you might know him from KickingTheTires.net. And a guy named Dave. He's from Indianapolis, Indiana, but you might know him better as NASCAR Chasm. What a character. He's just as funny in person as he is on Twitter and on NASCAR.com. So, and then we also met the gentleman who runs the Chicagoland Speedway Twitter account, which is probably one of the best track accounts on Twitter. So definitely give at Chicagoland Speedway a follow if you can. And
everyone's gonna watch this.
Yeah, yeah, really.
Thanks for the plug,
yeah,
Kane. Shut up.
Yeah. But anyways, pretty much as soon as Nick and I got there, they started asking trivia questions and when was the last time Paul Menard got a pole? And right away, I knew the answer. It was Daytona, July 2008, and he's like, oh wow, that was quick. And Jesse's like, man, are you a real NASCAR fan? He's like, yeah, I think so, Jesse, but thanks. But anyway, shortly afterwards, we all, have a big old group picture just like we did last year and just like to do at all the tracks. And And then after that, we were just, chatting around with everybody, getting to know people and whatnot. So that was a good time.
Then we went into the track and went to the infield because Kane managed to get some infield passes before the race. Not only did they have tighter security for getting into the track, they do the body scans, and you have to put your stuff from your pockets in a little bin, and they make sure you got no guns and everything. Like, they always kind of checked for that, but never to this extreme. And then they also had it getting into the infield like twice, so it slowed it down just a little bit, but they kept it as smooth as possible. But yeah, the infield was great. We've been there before, but this time we went even farther back because we never really knew what the fan zone was. But this time we explored a little bit more, got past Victory Lane, behind the media center to where the drivers' meeting was, and we waited there for everyone to come out, and that was one of the highlights of the day for sure. I managed to get a close-up video of Joey Logano having an interview with Marty Snyder, and he was signing autographs, and we saw Charles Peanut Tillman from the Bears, who was driving the pace car, doing an interview with Claire B. Lang, and it was just great. And then we stood by the red carpet for a while and watched guys giving autographs. I wish I brought more stuff for people to sign. I just kind of stood there and watched, but next time I'll be more prepared. And that was basically the gist of it. Kane, do you have anything more to add from the infield?
Well, I did get video of, me yelling random drivers' names and shit like that, and Tyler thought I was drunk, but that's for another story. But yeah,
you were drunk. Let's just be clear. You might have only had one beer on the day, but you sound drunk.
Yeah. But yeah, mostly the fan zone, it's basically right behind the pit boxes, so I got pictures of a lot of the team's pit equipment and stuff. We were even able to get a picture of some tires on the ground too, which they didn't have any barriers behind them, which I thought was kind of surprising. And like Nick said, I didn't realize the fan zone went that far back either, and we were able to get all the way up to where the drivers' meeting was being held, or at least outside of it, so definitely worth it. And then right afterwards, we met Nick's mom underneath the stands again, had some lunch, and then went to our seats and watched the fireworks unfold.
Yeah, try to stay hydrated.
Yep.
Yeah,
And,
you guys baked?
Yeah.
Holy
Oh
shit.
yeah,
I
we
mean,
baked.
Luckily, I put enough sunscreen on. We had a nice bottle of Surface. Thank you, Matt Tift. And also, before I forget, thank you, ISM, because we actually won 4 tickets to the Cup race. I've won it like at least 2 other times probably, so we've been getting really lucky. So this time, since we had extra, I had to ask Kane as my first choice. And as we said before, my mom went too, and the extra ticket just had to go to waste because couldn't find anyone else. And traffic wasn't bad. It was pretty smooth getting in and out. They were directing traffic all right, and yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to stop you guys right there. You really brought on the information. Yeah, we know. Thank you. I'm glad we could recap your trip into just one big bundle of shit. I don't know how else to describe it. So I'm just glad you guys had fun, and that's all that really matters. Not to mention free tickets. That's a great thing. So
Yes.
I've had experience with that. I like that. Free is always good. So, all right. It is time to move on. Well, the trucks raced to Chicago this weekend, and you know damn well what that means. Where did Cody Coughlin finish? Wow, big old Jegsy Patriotic. He didn't do shit this weekend. Started 12th, finished 12th. A very Cody Coughlin-like result. So let's see what he had to say. It was another tough night for our team. Our time is coming, though. We will regroup during this break and head to Kentucky Speedway. I am confident Jerry and my team can rally. They all work so hard, and I appreciate it. I bet you do, Cody.
They work so hard, and I don't.
Oh, man. Great paint scheme, though. We'll see you later. But I'm sad. We're going to miss Cody for a week. But like he said, they're going to come back and rally. And I'm going to leave you guys with this message. Jags!
Jags!
Jags! Patriotic Jags!
Stars and Stripes Jags! Bitch!
AFCO!
That was out of left field. I didn't see that coming. Alright. See you in 2 weeks, Cody. Alright, now it's time to hand out some awards for the Chicagoland race weekend. And starting off, Nick, What do we got?
It's the cigar from hell! Yeah, that's right, we're combining 2 awards. This driver did good, and then he had some problems. It's Eric Almirola. As mentioned, he won his first ever stage and led the most laps, but unfortunately he had 2 loose wheels. Thanks, pit crew! Oh my god! Get some Smithfield! It'll probably cook in 5 seconds on the pavement. Oh man. Yeah, so good job, but then not good job, but whatever. That's how it goes. Next award.
Next award is... Thank you, Def Leppard. Yeah, bringing on the heartbreak, John Hunter Nemechek. Oh my goodness. He looks like he pretty much has this race wrapped up. Sure, Brett Moffitt was kind of right there, but the likelihood of him getting to him in the last lap without an issue was slim. And then he ran out of gas. We thought he blew up, and he initially thought he blew up, but it was actually them running out of gas. And then, like, man, he was just so disgusted. You could see Joe was in the pit box, like, oh my god, I can't believe this shit. Somebody's getting fired Monday morning. I'm assuming it was the gas man now. Man, they were all so sad. John Hunter looked like he needed tissue in that interview. I wanted to hug him myself, you know. Hey, they're a small team too, damn it. And even though they won a race earlier this year, they want to win all they can get. They need sponsors. Oh, man. Poor John Hunter. Oh, I'm going to cry more. Somebody take away next award.
Okay, the next award is the Straight Jacket Award! And it goes to those damn lap cars again, but seriously though, thank you for setting up that epic finish between the Kyles, but god damn it, move the hell out of the way when the leaders are right behind you. I'm looking at you, Ryan Newman and Ricky Stenhouse. You practically screwed over Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson with like 3 laps to go. Why? I get Newman's harder to pass than a kidney stone, but god damn it, you did the exact same thing last year to Chase Elliott at Dover. Man, what have you got to say for yourself besides the fact that you don't have a fucking neck? God damn it, you must be freaking crazy to be holding up the leaders like that late in the race when they're fighting for the win. Next award.
Whew. We got some cigars. First one goes to Brett Moffitt. Don't have much more to say about him, but he got his 3rd win of the season in a race where we didn't even think they could show up. But thank you, Freight Auctions, or as Scott Zipadelli says, FR8 Auctions. He's not cool enough, but he capitalized on John Hunter's misfortune and pulled it off. That was great to see in person for sure. And Ben Rhodes also capitalized on the misfortune. He came home 2nd and finally had some luck go his way. ThorSport as a whole still has some work to do with these Fords, but at least maybe this is a sign of good things to come, so good job, Ben. Take it away, Tyler.
So now, it's time to go some cigars for the Cup race, because the Xfinity race wasn't cool enough. So, the first one goes to the finish between Kyle and Kyle. Yeah, just as a whole, it was awesome. We don't need to repeat it, but it just is worthy of cigars, so congratulations, guys. Next cigar goes to Clint Boyer. He finished 5th after he had that awful end to stage 1. He was still pissed off about it, and rightfully so. But hey, at least you did recover. You finished 5th. You could have been Eric Almirola, but you weren't. So nice job, Clint. And the final cigar for the race itself goes to Alex Bowman. Finished 10th. Another top 10 on the year. 6 top 10. Just a really quiet day, and he was ultimately the best finishing Hendrick car. So that's a good thing. You always want to be the best out of your team, especially when they all sucked. Jesus. Oh, man. Same old song and dance as far as that's concerned, but top 10s are nice. So good job, Alex. And we still have a few more cigars to hand out, so handing it to our Alex. Take it away.
I most certainly will. Our next cigar, it's one of the most anticipated moments of 2018. It goes to Dale Earnhardt Jr. making his broadcasting debut for NBC Sports. And my, oh my, how it was just fucking amazing. I mean, unfortunately, I was at the race, so I couldn't hear it in person.
Yeah,
but I
unfortunately.
heard, yeah, it was fucking hot, but Either way, though, man, from what I've heard, Dale absolutely killed it in the booth this week, and especially the finish, man. I mean, you thought the finish was amazing. Dale just made it that much better, especially when he yelled, "Slacho! Oh man, I can't believe that! They didn't count that! Oh, he hit him! He hit him! Oh, I can't believe this! Wow, man, what a finish!"
And here comes Larson. Larson to the bottom of the track.
Slide job.
Trying to take the lead away.
Slide job. Almost.
The momentum. The 18.
Contact.
They make contact. The 18 into the wall. They're side by side again. Going into 3 for the lead. Larson has the advantage. Here comes the 18. He puts the bump into the back of him. The 18 into the wall. The 42 sideways.
Where's Harvick?
Here comes the 18. Kyle Busch will win.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
He was just like one of us up there, man. It was so awesome to hear, and I can't wait for Daytona, man. That's just gonna be so fun listening to him give his take on the bumps and side drafting. He's gonna be a freaking pro at that shit. And now we got one final cigar to give out, and I don't know if we have ever done this before, but we are literally gonna give a cigar to a random fan that Thermite and I saw after the race, after Kyle Busch had, seemingly ruined the show for everyone. He was yelling random shit. It was pretty obvious he had a few beers, and he's like, "No, don't give him the trophy, you a fucking baby." I mean, this guy, this is like my fucking spirit animal right here. I mean, he obviously hates Kyle Busch, but damn, that was freaking awesome, man. You just get a cigar for being awesome. You continue to be you, my friend, and I hope to God we see you next year at Chicagoland Speedway. And with that being said, we got a couple more awards to hand out, one more to be exact. Tyler, what is that award?
Oh, this award has not appeared as much as it surely should because it's one of our favorites. It's the Crying Towel! Oh, and the first one goes to big old crybaby Kurt Busch. You know, former Mr. Radio Sweetheart, Kurt Busch. At the end of stage 2, he got raced a little bit too hard by Kevin Harvick, and they just had a good finish, good clean racing, right? Oh no, Kurt was all salty. Look what he had to say.
Championship. I mean, really? That's a teammate right there, everybody. Tuning in to NBC Live. That's what a teammate does. Never expected that from a teammate. Never expected it. Wow.
You're racing. It's a stage win, man. You're racing.
Kurt! Oh, you're so mad at Kevin for actually racing? How awful! Oh, no, it's just because he's your teammate and you're all salty because you got beat. Oh, and just like Jeff Burton said, I thought it was Junior at first, but it was actually Burton. It's just racing, you big baby. Good Lord, Kurt. Do I need to go down to the store and get you a bib? Get your bib, dab your tears, Kurt. Oh, I'll also get you a bib because you ended up finishing 17th. Enjoy it, bitch. Fuck you, Kurt. Like, don't do that. Ugh, I hate unnecessary salt. That was a good finish. Stop trying to piss all over it. Oh, but you know what? It wouldn't be a Crying Towel if we didn't have another one to give out. Well, who gets it?
Well, despite the fact that he won, oh, that's right, our favorite recipient gets it again. Oh, Kyle. Yep, that's right, both of the Busch brothers get a Crying Towel this week. Yep, even though Kyle won the race, he had to go and be a big old douche canoe during his interview with Rutledge Wood on the front straightaway.
Cup Series champion.
God, Kyle, why are you wiping your tears for? You really do need a Crying Towel. He's crying himself in victory lane. He's just like all the fans. He's cussing them out and saying, if you don't like this shit, then don't even watch. Why would you say that to all the fans who paid hard-earned money to be there? Except for me and Nick, of course. But still. Oh, Kyle, you big crybaby son of a bitch!
Salty Skittles, sour bitch!
Yeah, here's your trophy, asshole! Hope you enjoy it!
Hey Kyle, I just like to keep this in mind. They weren't booing the racing, they were booing you!
Exactly.
Yes! The finish was awesome, but you had to go and piss all over it! Oh my god, Kyle, you big crybaby!
Have some Maltesers.
Oh!
Yeah, get some get some Maltesers!
Hope you choke on your Maltesers, bitch. Oh god. Whew, that was fun. That was good stuff. They can enjoy their crying towels as we move on, because we're gonna. Alright, see ya!
Bye!
Later. And as always, we have some great paint schemes from the week. Check out the montage.
Far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, over the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He crowned thy good. Yes, he did. Heavy brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody.
And obviously, we have to have some worst paint schemes to balance that out and get everything equal again. So, Kane, I believe we have an honorable mention.
You mean a dishonorable mention? But thank you,
Yeah.
Thermite. Yeah, it's one of our favorite sponsors there. They're sponsoring a new driver this year. It's Clint Boyer's Wicks Ford. Wicks!
Works!
Yeah, it's probably just as bad as Martin Truex's car from last year. First of all, you got all the little stamped Wicks logos all over the car, and then you got these like yellow lines that run parallel to the hood. I mean, what the hell is that? It just doesn't look right at all. In fact, it actually looks worse than Martin's car from last year. Wicks, get your shit together, man. Jesus. Anyways, moving on to
Yes.
the actual worst paint schemes this week.
Yes, and the first one goes to Eric Jones and his Join the Salute DeWalt Toyota. Okay, what happened here? You want to throw in a little bit of extremely faded digital camo, and it basically blends in. It's like you almost can't even see it. Essentially what happened here was they took the DeWalt paint scheme, they stripped it completely, and kept the base color, threw some half-assed digital camo in there. They put that Join the Salute logo on the hood, slapped to DeWalt, like, you know, adjacent with the damn hood, and then, oh yeah, I noticed your side skirt there too. Nice touch, but it's extremely lazy. You're telling me you couldn't have just kept the regular DeWalt paint scheme and then added these elements in there and done a hell of a lot better job with the digital camo? Bullshit, you could have. I would love to meet the person that really gets paid money to do this. I've said this so much throughout all of our episodes covering bad paint schemes. Like, who gets paid to do this? I don't know, and I don't know how much you're getting paid, but you're getting paid too much. Stop this. You can do better. God damn it. I'm sure you got a little graphic design degree from your community college. Yeah, shove it up your ass. We still have one more. God damn it.
Wow. Yeah, that is Casey Kane's Thorn Camaro. What's happening? He's run another one before. That one was green. This one is white. And I don't really know what Thorn is. Maybe like a nutritional thing or wellness. But it's a plain white car with black numbers and sponsor decal. And then on the front, it looks like someone spilled their damn fruit punch. What's happening here? it's just a mix of splashed colors like red, blue, purple, whatever. But that's all that's on the paint scheme. It would have looked better just a plain white car with the black on it. But it's just lazy. If they would have continued it, I might have liked it better. And I think the green one was similar too, just green. But this one is, oh my God, just get better. And it sucks because I know the one who made it, and like he does good things, but I don't really think this is one of his best ones. So I guess it matches how good the team is right now. So shouldn't have fired Travis Mack for being realistic.
Yeah, exactly. Where'd you guys run this weekend? Dead last? Oh yeah, you had a good race though. Oh. God damn it!
I wasn't a horse, Kane.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know my name was Brad Keselowski.
I was gonna make a crack about that too.
Haven't heard that one before.
Brad Kaneski.
Get it?
Kanelowski.
Mr. Brad.
Oh shit. Good stuff. Alright, now it's time to recap the fantasy results and picks from Chicagoland. And Nick comes banging out with the win after picking Kyle Larson, who finished second and got 52 points. Just like to point this out real quick, he ended Kane's month-long string. Finally, damn it. Oh, so glad.
Yeah.
I come home in second, picking Kevin Harvick, finished third and got 50 points. Damani finished third, picking Truex, who got fourth with 48 points. And Kane rounds out the rear, even though he picked the winner, Kyle Busch, who got 40 points. It's because he had no damn stage points. This has got to be a first. Not only did we pick the top four, which it's obvious at this point, that's just NASCAR right now, but the guy who picked the winner finishes last in the week. I can't say that that's ever happened. So that's pretty cool in its own. Yeah.
And like it wasn't close either. He was 8 points back of third.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's insane. So, man, now we get into Daytona. We are arriving at the halfway point in the Cup Series schedule. And, yeah, let's make some picks. Kane, you're up first. Who you taking?
Well, Dale Jr. did it in 2015. Brad Keselowski did it in 2016. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. did it last year. That is, win the spring Talladega race and the July Daytona race, and I think that trend is going to continue. My pick is going to be Joey Logano.
Good job!
Well, Damani, you're up next, and he actually has some sound bites for it this week. So who you taking for Daytona?
All right, I'm picking Brad Keselowski because I haven't watched the season lately, and he's gonna kick some fucking ass because it's Daytona. Also, fuck you, Kyle Busch.
Oh, and for the record, here's Damani's race review, too. Why don't we just throw it in here?
I didn't even watch the race today, and I just don't know that. Fuck Kyle Busch. Fuck it.
Oh, my God.
Well, that's Damani. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm up next for Daytona. I'm going to take Ryan Blaney.
Here's the move. Look at this.
Yeah, he was damn good in the 500. He's got to break through, too. I don't know what it's going to take, but I expect them to run good. As long as he doesn't get crashed, I believe he'll be a contender. So I like my odds there. Nick, make a pick.
All right, well, since you all picked Fords, I guess I'll be different and pick a Ford, but not Penske related. And that's Kevin Harvick. Problem! He's been great everywhere this season. He's good at the plate tracks. I think he's going to get it done. He's going to have to be aggressive. That's his style. Should be a good race. So, eat him.
Well, this has been another episode of Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. We appreciate you for listening. So, for Damani HD, yeah, he was blind drunk during those clips. He admitted it. For Kane Jr. 88, he was drunk. He just doesn't want to admit it. Thermite 917, well, he don't drink. He's a pussy. And for myself, Pro Bowl 43, I need to drink a little bit more. I could use that in my life. Just saying. This has been Behind the Wall. You've been Behind the Wall. And thank you for listening.
and and then
What the fuck was that? That was like a backfire.
Are you ill?
We're about to start a tractor ride. I think it backfired.
I was torn between correcting myself and just continuing, but I'll continue.
Anything else to add about this? God damn it, Kane.
Not only is he in the race, but he goes and wins it. I mean, that's badass. And then, of course...
Talking about our experience, not what happened in the race.
Yeah, what the
And you
fuck?
didn't even go to that one. Still my thunder.
God damn it.
Damn it. Okay! Thermite, why don't you start?
Thank you, Kane. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, sunscreen, that's what I was talking about. I put enough on, Kane didn't quite, so I had to offer him some of mine, because his legs were starting to catch on fire, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, and let me tell you, man, that surface sunscreen, that is some good shit. I highly recommend it. And while we're at it, let's give some to Tyler, because I feel like he's acting like he's on fire now.
I'm on fire because I mean, everything you've just described there, Nick's like, oh yeah, I had to give him some of my sunscreen. It looked like he was getting a little fired up, so I went and rubbed some sunscreen on him. Jesus Christ.
You're cutting out so bad.
It sounded like you were rubbing sunscreen on him, Thermite. I mean, what? Some sensual service, or what the hell was it? Service? Surface?
Yeah.
Sensual surface. That's what you wanted to rub on Kane.
Yeah, he had to put some on his burning loins.
Dude, we are so off the rails here. I don't even know where to begin editing from that particular point. Holy shit. Please
And then
continue.
we went home. To our separate homes, not the... God dang it.
God. Jesus Christ, Nick.
They all
We
work
call
so
him Jerry
hard.
now.
Yeah, I know, I guess. It's just Jerry. Jerry, get your Jerry! Get your Baxter!
Hey, Jer.
Jerry. That's probably what he does. He walks up
Hello,
to him.
Jerry!
Fucking goddamn it. I had something to say, and then Kane just like, let me just go ahead and shove you out of the lunch line. Green. I want to set your beard on fire, goddammit. Oh.
Put some sunscreen on it.
That's your job. You big sunscreen homo. Well, that got off the goddamn rails real quick. Thanks a lot. You really got some heartbreak this week. Ow! Take it away!
Oh, man!
Do you have to piss all over everything?
That's because he's Thermite.
Kane, you do it too. You're just as guilty. Oh, sweet Jesus.
As always, we have... Dad, open the door again!
Wow. Wow.
Close it!
Drunk fuckers.
And Thermite.
Answer.